Hi, I'm Malin, your spiritual science nerd, exploring life freely and figuring it out as I go.
And I'm Jordan, your storyteller trying to make a difference, find myself in motherhood, and raise two fiery daughters at the same time.
Together, we are two Leo moons, proof that there is no one way to be a powerful woman.
Because women contain multitudes, and we're here for all of it.
Welcome back, everybody. We are super excited. So, Mother's Day is coming up.
Happy Mother's Day to me.
Yes,
and all the people that call themselves mother.
Yeah. Very excited. Are you doing anything special?
I hope spending 0 of the day with my children.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, thanks. We haven't laid out any plans yet, but I really liked kind of the norm that we set up last year where I went and did my thing. I had breakfast. My husband got me a massage, and then we all met up and went to the park. My kids proceeded to have epic meltdowns, but I was manhandled an hour previously and totally fine with the meltdown at that point.
All right, well, let's get into some astrology vibes then, some vibe checks. Astrologically, I don't have a whole lot to dig into, which I hope is good.
Thank God.
Although, don't get too excited. Although what is happening is a very serious transit, although I'm hoping it doesn't feel too heavy. But it's with Pluto, and it is the planet of transformation, shadow work. It's the god of the underworld, so it's a pretty serious, heavy energy, I guess. But it's going retrograde.
Oh.
So that is coming up. Oh gosh, what is the exact date? I think is it on Cinco de Mayo? Hold on one moment.
I'm gonna need 2 margaritas.
It's on the 6th.
I'll still have 2 margaritas.
Yeah, have your 2 margaritas because on the 6th, Pluto goes retrograde. Now, first of all, Pluto is a generational planet. It's in the same sign for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
So it's very slow moving. It's retrograde 5 to 6 months every year. So we do spend a lot of time where Pluto is retrograde. But we did just have this period of time I talked about last episode. All the planets are direct. Mm-hmm. We had all this forward movement, lots of momentum. So Pluto is the first planet now to go into retrograde. I think it's a good time for maybe some shadow work or going inward. I think that's what the energy will bring. Mm-hmm. Is it's the planet of transformation. It's in Aquarius. I think it's going to be a slow inner shift. So to me, that says to kind of do some introspection and maybe thinking about some Aquarian themes of systems that don't work anymore. And maybe now is not necessarily the time where we're going to be actively changing those systems, but I think maybe it's going to be a good time to go inward and reflect on what needs to change within so we can later externalize change. Let's take that right into maybe a little brief political.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short and sweet today. I feel like the last couple of episodes, there's been a lot of energy focused on how we can navigate these really uncertain and dangerous times. And I emphasize really heavily, go and vote, register to vote. We have autonomy, we have power. And I feel like I want to focus today on the knowledge that we need in order to have agency and go and act. So I want to talk about polling, and I want to talk about these percentage points and swing districts and these words that we hear that mean something, but that if we actually learn and kind of dig into what those words are telling us, it allows us to go and be more informed when we're going to the polls and making our decisions on who we're going to vote for and stuff. So specifically on polling and points, right? So we hear all the time that here in Texas, we have a gubernatorial race happening. Gina Hinojosa is running as a Democrat against Greg Abbott, the Republican. There are organizations and groups out there surveying prospective voters in a representative sample and asking them, who are you going to vote for in the 2026 gubernatorial election? Mm-hmm. And those prospective voters are answering either Gina Hinojosa or Greg Abbott. If 100% of those people answer the survey, then it breaks down into 51% are saying that they're voting for Gina Hinojosa and 49% are saying that they're voting for Greg Abbott, right? I guess technically that's a 2-point lead, but that's how how it would break down. So it's 2 percentage points. That is the difference between those two candidates. And so if you hear anybody say, this candidate is leading by a point, or they're trailing by 2 points, or Trump is down 12 points, they're talking about percentage points and the difference between like Trump's previous approval rating and his current approval rating. Okay. So it's like, some basic math that gets you to those places. Okay. But they always say points. They never say percentages.
And then how accurate do those always end up being?
That's a great question. So there are polls that are more that like utilize the best scientific practices for polling. They have a larger sample size. They're looking at people across different races and across ages and across socioeconomic statuses and trying to get the best representative sample of the country.
Yeah.
And then there's skewed polling. So if you poll, let's say in early voting, right? So if you poll just the people that went and voted early and you ask all of them after they voted, who did you vote for? You're going to get a skewed sample because regionally, the people that vote early are different from the people that go and vote in the general. Okay. So it's like, how much can you trust these polls depends on who's running them, when they're happening, and the kind of like scientific rigor that they're using when they're setting up the polls. Yeah. So I like to look at, there's some big ones like Gallup and CNN and the New York Times, like they run pretty good ones. This like logic also applies to swing or flip districts or states. Okay. So once we come up to like the general election in November, or as we're seeing more like local races conclude throughout the summer, you're going to hear this state flipped by 3 points, or this state is a swing by 4 points. And that means that it shifted in a percentage, that number towards or away from a party. So now we're talking a lot about Trump districts flipping Democrat. And that just means that the 9% of people that voted for Trump now voted for the Democratic candidate, which caused it to flip from a Republican to a Democratic congressional seat or Senate seat or state in general. Yeah. Yep. So it's just percentages that we're talking about. It's just some surveys. If you've ever participated in a survey, let me know, because I've always wanted to, but they've never called me. No. Damn it.
Jordan's like, please.
It's like I've never gotten to like actually go do jury duty, and I'm like the one person that actually wants to go to jury duty.
You will not be chosen then.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. But anyway, I think knowledge is power. So the more we can learn about these institutions and the processes that are in place, and sometimes it can be, I don't know, like intentionally vague and weird, like just break it down, gatekeepy. It's pretty simple when we break it down. So please, if you ever have any questions about the things that you're hearing around local politics or national politics, ask them in the comments so that we can address them in our political vibe checks.
Yeah, absolutely. She's who I go to. All right, ready for some scoops? All right, you're gonna have to help me on the scoop, because what I'm going to say is kind of building on, I think, what I said last time, but I don't remember my full spiel. Okay. But I wanted to scoop on, I'm so grateful for this time in my life that I have been given to focus on myself. And one of the things I've been doing is I have started a program where I have a life coach, but she's an integral life coach. And so I'm still learning a lot about it. I hope to maybe one day have her on here and we'll talk more about it. But what I like about it is that it's not just coaching in terms of like, I mean, your girl can set a goal. Yeah. I can set a goal. I set SMART goals. They're measurable, like I've got my...
They're time bound.
Yes. I have been a very goal-oriented person who's good at setting up steps to get there. But the integral coaching is really about focusing on like embodiment. And so it's holistic coaching. Nice. It is understanding like the nervous system is involved, the body is involved, the mind is involved, right? Like, yes, there are goals, but when you want to change how you show up in the world, you have to, it's a slow process and there's full integration. So one of the pieces of homework for me has been embodiment. And I talked last episode, my scoop was that I'd just been like dancing around my house and really loving it. But I've taken that further, and something that my coach recommended to me was to go on walks or do something where you're using like the bilateral, part of your brain, right? And she had recommended, like, sometimes I like to send my voice notes to my friends when I'm walking, because movement for me is when I feel my thoughts are moving and they flow better, rather than when I'm sitting somewhere and trying to think of creative things. When I'm in the car, when I'm running, I'm like, oh, brilliant, get this down. Yeah. And so I'll send voice notes, and she's like, that's a great way to do it. But what she wanted me to focus on was bilateral movement with basically some form of expression. Ooh. And so what I've done is what I'm kind of calling is like intuitive, like music listening. And it's not really that intuitive because it's probably my algorithm, but I'll put on a song that I'm vibing with or a playlist I'm like vibing with, but then I'll just let it play whatever. And what this works for me, I don't know how y'all feel, but my ability to listen to a song and really feel the emotion of it helps me move that emotion through my body. And so that I'm actively moving, I'm using both sides of my body, and I'm having these full on therapy sessions where I'm walking on a trail out in nature. It's like all of my favorite things. And I'm moving sadness, heartache, happiness, sensuality. And I love a good shuffle. I'm here for the shuffle. Amazing. The classic millennial, yes. Like all over the place. And I just like work through that emotion. And then by the time I get home, I've now physically worked out, I've emotionally worked out, and I'm actually tired. Like my mind's not ruminating anymore because I've processed, I've felt the feeling, I've moved through it, and I'm using random songs playing on my playlists to move through them. And for me, I'm really focused on embodying autonomy, actually, which we are going to talk a lot about later in this episode. But like feeling at home in myself and my decisions. And for me, music is a great way to do that. I think that's why dance works for me, because it lets me feel, especially like improv dancing, it's like I am in charge of this body, but also the way that I work through emotion. And so anyway, that's a big part of what I've been doing recently. And I look forward to it and I feel so good afterward. And if that sounds like something that you want to try, I highly recommend kind of just trying it on your own. And then if you want to take it deeper, maybe look into integral coaching.
So the biggest like experience that I've ever had where like a song found you, it was like a whole artist. So you know the song Geronimo?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the song Geronimo. I knew 0 songs from other songs from the artist. And the group is called Shepherd. They're an Australian band. And when it's like good timing for this episode, but when I gave birth to my eldest daughter, I was home late at night, desperately trying to breastfeed. And it was like such a joyful and painful experience. And I was just trying to keep myself awake at this point to like stay up for as long as she needed to drink. And I put on my shuffle on Spotify, and Spotify was like, you should listen to this song by Shepherd. And I was like, I think that they are the people that sing Geronimo. It sounds great. So I listened to it, and I seriously was sitting in bed with this whole song like moving through me and like lighting up every single part of me that I needed to feel.
Yeah.
And it was like, they're such a happy band. And I was like, I needed to just feel that sense of happiness, because I was struggling with, why am I not having more fun? Why does this suck? I have a brand new baby and like this should be great. And I like woke up my husband next to me like, you need to listen to this. And he's like, oh, is the baby okay? But I listened to this song and then I fell in love with the band. There's not a single song of theirs that I don't like. And last year I got to go see them opening for my other favorite artist, Andy Grammer. And they did like a little meet and greet after their opening set. And I went out to meet them and they like hugged me and I was like, I just want you to know how important your music is to me and the moments that it carried me through. And I like, it was the soundtrack to feeding my daughter for a whole year. And like one of them started crying because she was going through like a fertility experience too. And it was just like that, like the human connection through music was so beautiful. So like if you haven't heard Shepherd's other song besides Geronimo, you should really listen.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll scoop now, which is like not as positive, but I think it's funny that my scoop is connected but on the totally opposite end of the spectrum from my scoop last week when I was like, my daughters, these moments with them.
Yes.
The universe has brought me these gifts. They are my souls walking on the outside of my body. And this week I am done. Oh, no. The roller coaster that is caring for growing children is like the peaks and valleys. And we are so deep in a valley right now. No. Things with them are so hard. Sleep is non-existent. Everyone is cranky. Everyone's screaming at each other. They're hitting each other all the time. And so I like told myself that I would acknowledge it in this scoop because we don't talk enough about the trenches and how bad things can suck sometimes and how overstimulating it can be and how frustrating it can be and how much tension it can cause with your partner because it is like feeling unsafe in your own home all the time. So I'm reminding myself this week, 2 weeks ago, I was on cloud 9 with them. Yeah. Right now, is not good, but it will be better eventually. We'll figure out how to navigate it. So if you're in the trenches with me and this Mother's Day, you just feel like getting the fuck out of there, that's okay. Yeah. And I am with you in solidarity.
Well, I'm sorry that you've been, that's where you have been. And I hope that I have been supportive. I've been trying to like quietly check in with you because I've been checking your astrology and I don't know everything. I just know that there's a lot of signs that there's a lot in your life. And so I'm like, I hope she's hanging in there. Okay, let's talk about some positive masculinity.
Yeah, I feel really lucky because I think there's been, honestly, in my personal life, more positive masculinity than I feel like toxic masculinity. Yeah, and I'm really grateful for that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's there, but it's not being outweighed by the good stuff. And I actually have kind of like a silly one, if you're okay with me.
Let's do it.
Okay. I was watching Onward with my daughters the other night, and it was...
Was that the first time you've seen it?
No, I saw it for the first time in theaters. I was pregnant with my oldest, and I just like...
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yes, it's very, very, very emotional. It's just such a like whimsical story with like really incredible family like storytelling, and as an eldest sibling, I also feel incredibly connected to it because like I know the experience of raising your siblings. And so I always felt like I loved this movie, but when we were watching it the other night, I was looking at it through the lens of like, this is a movie about males, like boys, and they're on this adventure and they are navigating loss and love and relationships and self-identity and confidence in such an accessible way.
Yay, that is a fun one. I love it.
It was cute. I love that movie.
Well, moving back into, back to the girls, this is our Mother's Day episode, and I want to share something that a listener, hey Danielle, messaged me about. She was like, this made me think of you. And the quote is, 50% of the world is made up of women, and the other 50% is made up of their children.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
it was just a couple days after she sent that to me that I saw the quote, women are from Venus, right? Yeah. Women are from Venus and men are from women.
Yes.
So, with that being said, happy Mother's Day to all of the people out there who identify as mothers, and whatever that looks like for you. And we this week are talking to Enjoli, who is a certified full spectrum birth doula. And so she's a really lovely human being who I met through Diva Dance. I've met so many incredible women that way. And I'm so excited to dig into this topic because I think we can pretty easily say that the world we live in, and especially the medical care of this country, is not perfectly designed to give people the resources they need to, well, they don't have the resources they need. I think the experience of birth is much bigger than our medical system treats.
Yeah. I mean, as somebody, I have had 2 pregnancies and 2 babies. Very fortunate that they are both healthy and thriving. And I knew I always wanted to be a mom, and I never, ever, ever could have expected what it really would be like. I had 2 C-sections, and I'm really excited for everybody to hear this interview about, what the birth experience can be like, the stigmas around it, the joys, the sorrows, the breadth of experiences that you can have. I'm proud of how my births went. My babies got here, and I just hope that whoever's listening learns something or feels seen by the conversation, because it's huge. Like, the world wouldn't exist without mothers, and we deserve more resources and more support.
You mentioned that you were proud of your birth experiences, but that has not always been your feelings around it.
Yeah. No, my first C-section was not necessarily my choice. It was a long induction process, and my baby and I were not safe. And so the C-section at that point was the safest option, but it feels like a last resort. And it feels like when you get to a last resort, like you failed. Like somehow my body didn't do what it was supposed to do to get my baby here safely. And it took years of me reflecting on that and thinking about it, and therapy and conversations with my partner to land on, like, no matter how she got here. And like, from my body came life. And being able to, like, own that and feel that and not minimize it. Like, we'd say, like, oh, you gave birth. Oh, it was your birthday. Happy birthday. You know what the fuck happened that day?
Yeah.
Life came into the world through a human being. And that is miraculous. Like, that is a literal miracle. And it's hard to own things, I think, as women. It's hard to be like, I'm proud of this. I fucking did something. Whether you ran a marathon or got a promotion or gave birth, like, it's so hard to be proud, openly and emphatically proud of something that you accomplished. And it was only when I started to do that I really felt like I didn't lose something in my birth experience. And then for my second child, I was able to choose a second C-section. And I did a lot of thought about what I wanted and how I wanted that to look. And for me, it was about having that experience on my terms, doing what my body knew how to do. My body knew how to heal. I'm grateful because I had a woman in my life who chose to have an elective C-section after an emergency C-section. And her story was a big reason why I felt like it was an option for me to elect for that second C-section. So like without that single conversation that she may not even remember, I don't know if I would have made the same choice or felt as confident as I did with that choice. So it's just like we can build each other up or we can push each other down. And we should, whenever we can, choose to lift each other up and have the conversations and be vulnerable and be open, because you never know who you're going to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this interview with Enjoli. She's amazing. We will share below and all over our social media where to find her and how to support her. Hi, Enjoli. Welcome to the podcast. So excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm super excited to talk more about your work, but of course, we want to get to know you a little bit better. So to start, what is your moon sign?
I am a Gemini moon.
Gemini moon. And what's your sun again?
Libra.
That's okay. That's right.
Right, yeah.
So you're a Libra sun and a Gemini moon. Do you relate? Kitty's here for it. Do you relate more to your moon sign than you do your sun sign?
I feel like they kind of both play like into everything. So I was reading up on my moon sign, and I was like saying that I kind of flow into like my emotions, and I was like, I definitely do that. But as a Libra, I feel like I'm very much like balance everybody out. I don't.
And then what's your relationship with your intuition?
I definitely feel like when it comes to like that, it's definitely all like my emotions. I feel like I flow with how I'm feeling, and it's probably why I don't stay in positions long with other people, because I'm just like, oh yeah, this isn't serving me anymore. Like, to go. So.
Do you feel like it ever feels separate from it being an emotional experience versus it being like almost like a gut knowing? Or do you feel like your emotions and your gut are very close? Tied?
Yes,
gotcha.
Very. Like when I'm like, something's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe because they're closely tied together, your relationship with your intuition is that your emotions are leading that, and they will definitely let you know. Kind of like an alarm bell.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. What brought you to this kind of work?
Well, what brought me into doula work was definitely my own experience with trying to have my own babies, but feeling like a lot of pain and like discomfort with things. And so going, of course, and seeing my OB and being like, hey, something's not right.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot with like gynecology work with multiples, because I've definitely seen more than one, where it's just like, oh, like that's normal. Like you're supposed to be in pain. When a lot of women don't know that your cycle shouldn't really cause you a whole lot of pain, and it should be something that kind of flows. Like, yes, we're going to have cramping, but it shouldn't be anything that causes for you to have like stop life.
Like debilitating.
Yes. And so for me, that was like very discerning. Had a gynecologist tell me like, you'll never get pregnant on your own. Like you will need some type of medical assistance to get pregnant. And I was like, okay, so I have PCOS and endometriosis, and it was because of me requesting testing, not because anyone like said, oh, let's check this out, that I discovered that. But after hearing like, oh, like you're not going to be able to get pregnant on your own, I ignored a lot of signs. Like I even had my own mom ask me like, are you sure you're not pregnant? And I was so upset with her, because I'm like, dude, like, this isn't something that's possible.
Oh, you just accepted
what they said, because they're the doctors, right? They should be the experts. And yeah, I was pregnant, and didn't know I was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Because I ignored like, oh yeah, my boobs hurt a little, like, but it was because I accepted what the doctor said and I just went with it. But even with going through, I had a blighted ovum, which is just pretty much that your baby doesn't kind of develop in your body, rejects. But I had a doctor then provide me medication to try and help with that process of like having the baby coming out, which then caused for me to have to go see another doctor, because they're like, whatever they gave you could have killed you.
Oh my goodness.
And so I just feel like sometimes, especially like as Black women, we aren't heard, and they push off what we're saying to them, because as a Black woman, I can take more pain than a white woman can, and we're just, the things that we ask have to be like repeated, and I was like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
So learning to advocate for myself, I'm like, I know I'm not the only one. And that's what led to doula work, teaching others to advocate.
Yeah. I mean, you've touched on so many things that I feel like I just want to draw more attention to or reinforce, because I first of all want to say that I definitely think that Western medicine has a place, and it is very important to have equitable access to modern healthcare. That being said, there are obviously gaps in our healthcare system that affect us all differently, unfortunately. But for me, I think throughout my life and a lot of the stories that I have heard, the theme always comes down to, I just really want to encourage people to like trust your body.
Yeah.
Like learn to hear and listen to your own body, because it's never 100% about a doctor knows everything.
Absolutely.
They know a lot, and they might know something you don't know, but you also know something they don't know. And I do think that by detaching us almost intentionally from our own bodies, we lose a lot of our own power. And I just think that it's unfortunate, but it's a life lesson that many women learn throughout their life, is that you have to advocate for yourself. And I know that as a person of color in general, just anyone non-white, it's going to even influence you more. So once again, just somebody on this podcast who has taken their own experience and kind of recognized the greater good you could do to take your own painful experience and turn it into healing for other people. So that's pretty incredible. So what does that look like then for you? What did you have to do to become a doula, and then what does that all really entail? I know it's a huge question.
No. So interesting enough, to be a doula, you don't have to be certified because you're not doing anything medically. I'm literally a support person. I'm here to help you research. I'm here to teach you how to advocate and say what you want. In the birth realm, like I'm there doing comfort measures, but I don't ever like replace a partner or whoever you choose to be your support partner. I'm there to help coach and guide them along the way to kind of like help you get through things, doing a lot of like turning and positioning and things like that. So it's all emotional, really kind of support. However, I'm big on like making sure I'm trained. So went through a training just to make sure I understood like all the aspects of like birth, because I have not birthed a child myself, not a full term baby at least. And so being able to like understand the different stages of labor and like what a woman is going through like during that time. And not only like saying woman, what a birthing person is going through, during that time. So yeah, just understanding that. So certification, and then from there it was really just kind of like word of mouth of like, hey, I'm doing this, and having friends who are like, well, can you support? I've done unassisted, which means there's no midwife, no doctor.
Okay.
That was it was scary, but exciting as well. Like to have somebody just at home and just letting your body do what your body does. And again, goes back to what you were saying of like trusting your body and knowing that your body is going to tell you exactly what it needs. So yeah, watching babies being born there's no words.
I mean, that is the miracle,
There's
right?
no words to explain like, that experience. As a full spectrum doula, I am certified to be there with someone while they're going like through their fertility journey. I've personally chosen not to do that right now, just because I'm going through my own journey. Then of course birth, which is exactly what we were talking about, like walking through with pregnancy and like the different stages and things that they're going to go through during birth, what labor looks like, being there to support. But I absolutely love postpartum, which is the time after they've already given birth, and being there to support mom. Like, I feel like after baby is there, people come over to see the baby. They're not there really to like be with mom. And so being able to be that person to come and be like, hey, have you ate today? Would you like to go shower? And, setting up food, meal trains for like families. A lot of people don't think about that. Like, who wants to cook? Like, you're tired, and so, and setting up sleep. I'm also trained for lactation, so helping with latching and pumping schedules if they need it. And
so many people I know who have given birth are like, and then they hand you a baby and you go home. And there's not as much preparation for life after birth. And it's from taking care of a baby to the psychological, emotional, and mental changes that a woman goes through, right? It's we hear a lot about postpartum depression, but I feel like that doesn't even really tackle it's the transformation and the complete identity shift that a woman has that we are not, that our society, our current culture is not supportive of helping them through that transition.
No, definitely. And it's crazy you said transformation. Like, I always tell people, you're not just birthing a baby. Like, a mom's being birthed too. And I don't care if you've had a baby already. Like, now you're being birthed to a whole second child. I'm not just a mom of one. I'm a mom of 2 or 3. And I have friends who have 6 or 7. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. In your experience of your doula work, what do you think is the most common misconception?
That feeding your child is going to be easy.
Oh.
Like, for sure. I feel like that's, like, for most moms, that is probably the toughest thing.
The
like,
biggest one.
Yeah. It's that mentality of, like, I'm a bad mom because I can't do this. So I feel like lactation is what I kind of feel like I step in a lot with postpartum, and having to, like, also get them in touch, because it might not be you. Maybe this baby has a tongue tie, you know, or whatever it is. Sometimes it's just simply a position, like, hey, he's just getting latched better with us laying down together and doing a sideline. And that's not really what's taught, like, in the hospitals or in classes.
Or on TV, and everyone's like, that's what I'm supposed to do.
This is just how it is. And I'm like, no, let's football this child. Like, maybe your baby needs to eat this way. Like, maybe you need to lay flat with you. And, like, and those things aren't, like, taught.
Right? Like, I think that there's this weird line that I can only assume that a person is trying to navigate between this is perfectly natural and it's not easy.
I feel like that's why it's important to have a doula, because one, they kind of feel like, oh, she's that expert. So she knows, without it being like a medical kind of stance, then you grow and build that relationship. But a lot of people don't realize that your emotions can affect your labor too. So, like, when you start doubting yourself, you can cause for your contractions to completely come to, like, a whole halt, because you're overthinking, like, I can't do this. And so your body's like, yeah, we can't do this.
Yeah.
And so having to have somebody who's like, we can do this, like, affirming, like, you've got it, your body's doing it. And so
and you're supported.
So I feel like through all stages of life, like, you need a village. We need that support. So we use brain a lot, and I'm not going to remember all of them, but like, we need to ask, like, what are the benefits of what you want to do? What are the risks of what you want to do? Being able to give me, like, other options for, like, if I don't want to do this, this is what I can do. And,
like, alternatives.
Yeah, alternatives. And then interventions, like, why are we intervening? Am I in trouble? Is baby in trouble? Like, is there a reason why we want to intervene? And my favorite is the end. It's a no. Like, if I say no, it's no. Like, we're not moving forward. Like, it's okay to say no.
So tell me more about how giving autonomy to someone who is in labor affects the process of giving birth, and how being in a setting where that's taken away affects the process of giving birth.
Yeah, I find a lot in hospital births, I absolutely hate when they ask, if they do ask, that it's typically that they're asking questions or trying to give information while a birthing person is in the middle of a contraction. Ooh. So when you're in pain, I'm not hearing nothing you're saying because I'm trying to, like, get through this pain. So of course, if I just want you to stop and to typically just shut up, I'm gonna be like, just do whatever you want to do, right? So I feel like a lot of times in doula work, I have to be like, can we pause for a second and let her get through this contraction, so that she can make a good decision for her body.
So are you a part of the birthing plan?
Yes.
Like, you're very aware, and then you're able to advocate for
helping them. Well, and I always tell, I'm not going to advocate. I will give you, like, hey, is this what you want? So that they can advocate for themselves, because at no time do I want to feel like I'm also like taking their autonomy away of like,
Yeah.
no, these are their decisions. And I always tell clients all the time, I don't want you to feel bad like telling me like I want to divert from my birth plan. Like I know this is what we discussed, and I know, and we have code words sometimes of like, I can't do it no more. And I'm like, okay, I feel that, like, and that's okay. Like, this is your decision. But always wanting people to know that it's their choice, like not what I'm suggesting.
Yeah. So in the experience of when a birth plan does not go according to plan and a significant change has to be made, how do you as a birth doula help them with processing that afterward, like after birth, postpartum, when they're looking back and thinking about their plan?
And I feel like that's part of like, I love being full spectrum because I'm able to like navigate that throughout. But even if someone hires me just like as a birth doula, I always give them 4 hours of like postpartum care. And it is to kind of go over that of like, how did you feel about your birth?
Okay.
Sometimes it was great. Like, and I love for that particular mom, it was like, she felt like everything went the way it was supposed to. So even though I felt like, oh, this is crazy and this is chaos, like for her, this is exactly how it was supposed to be.
Okay.
But when it is like, where they're feeling like crap and it's, my body couldn't do it, and that's hard sometimes. But we sit and I let them vent. I'm big, even though I'm not great at it myself, but like journaling. I want you to write down like how you felt about like your whole labor experience, and then how did you feel though when it was done and over. Like, and for some it's that bliss, and others it's like this was just all a mess. And I feel like sometimes that can also like hinder that first immediate like connection with baby, because it's just like you caused my body so much havoc and like that trauma, but having to like navigate through that. And sometimes it's having to be honest and be like, we might need to reach out to somebody about this, because it's not in a place where I can like truly help, because
So so you like to get a feel for their initial feelings, but I can assume that those might change as the hormones are dramatically changing as well, right? Yeah. So do you feel like,
I always check in.
But with your check-ins, do you find that how someone feels immediately after usually is pretty telling on like, okay, they're gonna have a hard time, or is it normally like they might be experiencing a lot of bliss in that moment, and then, because this is me, I'm gonna ruminate, later kind of start breaking things apart?
I feel like it can go both ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is in that immediate like, and I've had friends who immediately it was like, I don't know, this child, like, and they had a great, like, my birth was amazing, but it was still kind of like, and having all those initial, we call them baby blues, but as hormones, started to balance. And we talked about, like, I did tell her, you should probably go talk with someone. Yeah. It was more of like, okay, like, I can deal now. And their relationship is beautiful. And I have then had those who are like in love with their child. And then a couple of weeks go by and I'm like, hey, I just want to check in, make sure everything's still great. And they're just like, but it's not, Enjoli. And I'm like, oh, okay. And in those moments, I'm like, I can come and stop by. Like, I don't like, it goes back to that whole village. Like, I'm not going to just leave you because you're no longer paying me. Like, I want to make sure you're good and you're okay. And so having some time to go, and sometimes that they just need time to themselves to like process those feelings. And so I'm like, I'll take the baby. You go do what you got to do. Yeah. Like, go be you. And I want to say that for anyone who is birthing, you are still you outside of that child. We say that a lot in our single moms group, like, outside of being a mom, who are you? Like, don't lose that. And so still being able to take time to like do what you used to do without baby. You have a whole partner or hopefully someone who can take care of that child while you still do you, because that's still important.
I don't necessarily want to say like as a society, but maybe more as friends and family. how can those support someone close to them who has recently given birth, maybe specifically if their plan didn't go the way they thought it would, but kind of just in general, right?
General, yeah.
Like, what does that look like for someone like me? You
Well,
know, to be a good friend and a good support system who's not a doula, right?
Yeah. So I feel like when I initially start with a client, we have, especially if it's a birth client, I have 2 prenatals with them. So the first one, we're going to go through birth plan. But that second one is my favorite because I'm like, we're going to sit here right now and type out a message to your family and your friends. And for them, a lot of people are like, what?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we're going to type up what your expectations are. Like, that's important. I'm big on boundaries. And so and I tell them, we're going to put in here, you are not coming to my home to see my baby without that expectation of coming and helping as well. Like, that is so important. Don't ever just come to like hold the baby or be like, oh, you're so cute. Like, bring some food, or before you hold this baby, I would love if you could wash some dishes for me or throw a load in, or while we're sitting here and talk, like, come and talk with me. Don't just come and like see the baby. I feel like that's very important. So I always say to have a task, like come prepared either with some food or a task that you can do for them.
Yeah. We keep talking about this village. We keep talking about this community. We keep talking about the person giving birth needing more support. And it is not just about this one day where you give birth and then everyone let's move on and everyone just wants to hold the baby. But this, I feel like this is going back to the historical wisdom of women caring for women. That
Are you getting into witchy stuff?
I'm getting a little bit into witchy stuff. I am, yes. I think that we have, over generations and generations, lost that in a lot of ways. And it doesn't even necessarily, not that you have to be a witch, but it's this idea that like women supporting women was, you know, talking about the witch hunts were like a way to continue to pull women apart, right? And so how do you feel like the history of basically the oppression of all women plays into where we are societally now with how a person's birth experience is, and then what does that relationship, how is that reflected or different in doula work today?
Even the word doula sometimes can be like, ugh, because it goes back to like slave. Like, yeah.
I did not know this. Tell me more about this.
So the word doula comes from like you being a slave. That slave was the person who came and like helped with birthing those particular the babies in those days. So a lot of people are, especially people of color, are like, no, like they don't want to even have that title of like a doula. I'm a birth worker. And so I feel like that one, that whole definition of it, I took that on because I'm proud to say that my ancestors went through that, and like I'm not a slave to anybody, and so I'm not even gonna allow that one word to like change.
Yeah, you're
what
taking
it
the
is,
word back.
That our generations and generations did, but I do feel like even now with how they're trying to make it hard for birth workers to come into like those medical spaces.
I don't know, call me crazy. I'm always going to blame that on capitalism.
Yeah.
Because by keeping us separated, we are creating a system where we do need help. We're not going to do any one thing on our own. And if we don't have each other, we're going to pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
And then if we're going to pay for it, then that means that people with privilege are going to be the ones who have the support they need. So it's classist, and it's comes down to who's making the money.
Yeah.
But essentially, by keeping us separate and not allowing us to care for each other, and that's why community is resistance, and that's what I always come back to.
I feel like in this season of life with nannying, right now I'm working with a family and they have their own farms, but I love that they keep nothing to themselves. None of the produce or anything on their farm have I ever seen them sell to anybody else. My husband laughs. He's like, you feel like you're being paid in eggs, and I'm like, stop it. Like, they do pay me real money.
Yeah.
That out there.
But also
every
eggs.
Friday I do get a dozen of farm fresh eggs.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
But I have a tomato plant. Like, I just love the knowledge. I'm not good with plants. I love saying I'm a plant mama, but if my plants survive, it's pure miracle. But I've have a whole little garden growing on my balcony of my apartment because of the wisdom that she's like shared with me to like help these things, and it brings me back.
Yeah, there's already reciprocity in seeing what someone else has to bring to the community.
And we don't eat eggs like that, so I'm like, she doesn't know it, but she's also helping my like neighbors. So I'm always knocking, hey, you got eggs?
Look at you.
You need eggs?
Enjoli, that's wonderful. All right, before we wrap up, what do you wish more people understood about birth work?
That they are a huge part of like what it is. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't trust their body. And so as a doula, I'm not doing anything. I'm just a person in the room. It literally is about like that vibe and that energy, like readjusting it. And so learning, I feel like we said that before too, like having to learn to know your body, and our body's going to tell us exactly like what we need or when something's off, but being able to vocalize that instead of just holding it in.
And that makes sense, and it makes sense why your role is very important, because while you might see it as like you're not the one who's I think you said, I'm not doing anything, I'm just there to support. But really what you're doing is you're holding space for a person in a system where very intentionally there is no space for them, right? So you're creating that space where they're told, you don't know and it doesn't matter. And you're there to remind them, you do know and it does matter. Yeah, that's amazing. And so what's your favorite part of your work? Because there's a lot of parts, and it seems like you genuinely enjoy all of it, right? I didn't even know that you started with fertility issues, and it is this huge journey, and it is not just that day, and it's not just nine or 10 months, right? It's a much bigger process. So where's the part that you really feel, what's your favorite part? What keeps you going?
What keeps me going? Honestly, I feel like my favorite part is when there is like a partner in their space. And I feel like it's said as well, like at weddings, like a lot of people are looking at the bride and, you know, you like to look at, see what their groom's face. I love seeing a dad's reaction when their baby is born, and not the reaction of their baby, but their reaction to their partner. And like them looking at their partner and being like, damn, you did that.
That's
like,
so refreshing to hear.
Like, I absolutely, that's like probably my favorite. And I'm always taking pictures, but like that's the moment I try to like capture, is that moment that like they look and that tear kind of starts when they see their baby, but that look back to their partner of like, damn.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right, Enjoli, so what in life right now, and it does not have to be related to your work, but what is lighting you on fire, igniting your spark, making you feel alive?
So I feel like nanny work on this farm right now is like I just love nature. And so I have absolutely loved that I have kids who love to be outside. We spent Friday splashing in mud puddles. Like literally my mom bought me rain boots. She's like, so that you can play in the rain. And so, because I was getting my tennis shoes filthy dirty, but jumping in mud puddles.
Oh,
Your
inner child is out to play.
38, yes. And
Excellent.
Getting to like, just love life and run around and play in mud.
I love it.
And not having anybody turn and look at you and be like, how old are you?
Yeah. And then who is a woman who has inspired you?
Malin.
What?
No, really, and honestly, like from the moment that you started working like at Diva Dance, it's you just have an energy around you that makes me like loving me, like honestly, because
Okay. I was going to be like, yes, tell me how great I am, but now I'm going to cry because you're hitting.
no.
How much more meaning could I ask for?
Yeah, like I absolutely, like you just, it's that exude, that feminine, like we are it. And I feel like for a long time, and dance in general, I feel like has been such therapy. But I was looking back at my videos from when I first started, and I was like, girl, what were you doing? Like,
we all start somewhere,
yeah, I was
right?
like, you were a hot mess. But it didn't even matter when I kept watching. I'm like, I could see like my confidence changing and shifting, but being able to express that and vocalize, like, I am it. I feel like it was when me and you started like seriously talking and like just hearing you.
Enjoli.
I was like, dang, I'm not weird.
No.
I'm not weird. I am awesome.
Thank you very much. Honestly, that's probably one of the best compliments I've ever received in my entire life. So thank you very, very much. I'm happy that I'm bringing that kind of light to somebody else. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you so very much for being on the podcast. I know you're a listener, and now you get to be a guest. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening or watching to Two Leo Moons. If you like what you saw here today, be sure to give us a follow, like, comment. We want to hear from you.
And we'll catch you in 2 weeks with our next episode.